Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining this webcast on the Introduction to MicroStrategy 10, the new face of enterprise analytics. It really is such an exciting time for MicroStrategy, given the amount of noise I'm hearing about this release, and given the time that I've been here with MicroStrategy, this is possibly the largest launch that I've ever witnessed, and possibly the company has seen in the last 15 years. So there is definitely a lot of excitement, and I'm seeing a record number of people today who have registered for this webcast and who are in attendance today, which really is such a testament to this release, and I'm very excited to be a part of this. I'm Vijay Anand, the Director for Product Marketing on the analytics side for MicroStrategy, and I've been with the company for about 10 years now. And like I said before, the amount of energy that I'm seeing around this launch is so large, and I'm very excited to be presenting this to you today. The release of MicroStrategy 10 has really been a little bit different given our history. We have adopted this agile methodology where we have involved our customers to be a part of this launch ahead of release. And we launched this as a beta product where we allowed our customers to try the software before we launched it on a larger scale. And with that, we were allowed to include so many of the fixes and so many of the features that was actually important to our customer base, to the people outside of this company who really draw value from this product. And that really made this product so much more beneficial and useful to our user base. And this is just one of those, the feedback that we've gotten, everything has been so positive. So again, there's so much energy around this, and we continue to be excited around this launch. If you look at the history of MicroStrategy launches, we really have been pioneers, whether it's mobile analytics, whether it's cloud, whether it's even web, and it dates back to years, decades before. And if you see MicroStrategy 10, what it really brings to the market is a comprehensive suite of analytical products that really suits both business users and IT users. The launch of 10 to me specifically is around what Gartner really talked about in the last 2 years. They've mentioned that any buyer today will look at not just agility and flexibility, but will also look at core enterprise capabilities like scalability and security and performance. And it really is important for an organization to include these requirements as they select their vendor to provide enterprise analytics to their community. And that's what MicroStrategy 10 is all about. It is about not just any compromise around agility and the flexibility and the governance for that single version of the truth. MicroStrategy 10 is that software that will provide both agility and governance to your user base. It's not just going to compromise between ease of use or enterprise-ready capabilities that requires pixel-perfect formatting, enterprise reporting, and whatnot, but it offers both those capabilities. It does not serve one or the other user, whether it's not just for business users who are analysts and want to do this with minimal training, or more for the IT users who are more savvy in this field, but it really serves and caters to both these users. It truly is that one comprehensive platform that serves both these audiences because it is able to encapsulate both the freedom and the flexibility that comes with visual data discovery, and also serves with that tool set of capabilities that provides and caters to that audience who are looking for scalability and high performance and security and administrative tools. So if you look at in the old model of BI, and if you look at the spectrum of the other vendors out there, there are a set of tools that are able to cater visual data discovery and to serve the business user needs. On the other hand, the traditional BI tools are able to serve the IT needs where you need centralized deployments, and you need to be able to do this with a lot of coding and a lot of data modeling to be able to provide enterprise-grade grade capabilities. What MicroStrategy 10 is able to do, and this is what organizations are going to be looking for in the near future, if you look at Gartner's Magic Quadrant and the things that they talk about, is that you need a comprehensive suite of technology that caters to both sets of audiences, but that provides and caters both sets of technologies by providing ease of use and flexibility through that data discovery and visualization tool set, and yet also gives you the capability to achieve enterprise caliber capabilities by providing enterprise pixel perfect reports and dashboards, mobile capabilities, cloud solutions, in-memory capabilities for high performance BI, and the ability to scale to thousands of users, and a comprehensive and sophisticated administrative and development tool set that allows you to build these sophisticated applications to cater to not just a centralized complex deployments, but also allows you to grow from the ground up with a single user tool set. Well, you start with data discovery as a single user within your organization, and you grow upwards in that manner. So that's what I'm going to be introducing you today, and that's what MicroStrategy 10 represents. And I'm going to dive into the feature set because there's so many new things that are encompassed within this new release. And if I look at the slides that I was going to be making for the rest of the slide, it's just feature after feature after feature. So I've selected what I think are the most significant features that will impact and help your organizations achieve that success in deploying analytics to your organization and helps the adoption of that. But I'm going to go over those features in the next few slides. And towards the end of it, I also want to show you a demo to actually show you what the product looks like and to give you some basic training to help you get started quickly. So at the core of MicroStrategy 10, like I said, it has so many features built into it. A big new change to MicroStrategy in terms of the way we're doing it is we have a brand new interface. It's based off HTML5, and it's just such a slicker interface that allows both business users and IT users to develop applications and dashboards and visualizations in a much easier manner. We have really invested a large amount of our resources in developing new visualization interfaces. We used to call it Visual Insight before, so those of you who are familiar with our past release and you look at our latest release, you'll see a huge difference with it. So it has gone into making the ease of use component of this is to allow your users to connect to data, to prepare your data for analysis, and then build visualizations to do your discovery on top of that, and to eventually build dashboards. The whole process, as you will see in the demo, has really become so much easier. If you look at the suite of products that we've catered to our user base, in the past, we've offered the web and the mobile interface. With MicroStrategy 10, there's a brand new interface called MicroStrategy Desktop. What the desktop tool is a client that you can download onto your PC or your Mac. We have installers for both, and you can do visual data discovery using that tool in an offline and disconnected mode. Typically, for MicroStrategy deployments, whether it was mobile or web in the past, you needed a server license where you needed to be able to connect to that centralized deployment to leverage that deployment that your IT has built out for you. But with MicroStrategy Desktop, you can download it in a matter of minutes and install it, and you are good to go. You have a single tier environment where you can connect to any data source and start building visualizations and dashboards and start interacting with your data to make insights and to make decisions, and also share and collaborate with your users. And that is a big step up in terms of the way our users will be able to use our interfaces with MicroStrategy. So let's just dive into a little bit more detail into what the new MicroStrategy Desktop is, because that is our new interface. Like I said, it is available to be downloaded and installed on your PC or your Mac, and it takes a few minutes to be able to get started. It has a completely brand new HTML5 interface and allows you as a product to connect to any data source, whether it is a simple and personal Excel file or CSV file, or to some more complex databases like your relational databases like Teradata and SQL Server and Oracle and whatnot, and to even some more complex ones like Hadoop and other NoSQL sources like MongoDB, if you will, and some other non-traditional sources such as Facebook and Twitter and Salesforce and other cloud-based applications. The product is so versatile in allowing you to connect to any data source as a business user and allowing you to build visualizations to make insightful decisions on top of that by using some interactive drag and drop functionality. And you can start connecting to data and building these dashboards in a matter of minutes. And that's where the true value of the product really comes in. So if you think about it in a deployment standpoint, in the past with MicroStrategy, it was a heavy tool that you needed to deploy and then start distributing access through web and mobile licenses to your user base. With MicroStrategy Desktop, you can do the reverse of that. You can actually start as a single user within your organization. So you as a single user or within a small team where you have some data that you want to analyze and you want to test out the idea of using analytics to become that data-driven culture and start diffusing that out, you are able to start small and really start scaling up to your real needs. So you have the ability to start with an individual user within a team and then start dispersing that tool out to several other teams. And then as your requirements grow and as your sophistication needs to advance, you have the ability with MicroStrategy and our server components and our web deployments, you can start using all those other toolsets that are standardized in this technology to allow you to grow to that entire ecosystem within your organization. And really, so with Desktop, we now not only cater to that centralized method of deployments of analytics, but also allow you to start catering to that decentralized method of deployments. The big benefit is to be able to do this, and Gartner has repeatedly said this. Gartner is such an authority in the way you deploy analytics, and they have recently said with their 2015 conferences where they've advocated the bimodal deployments, where they are seeing rapid adoption of single user point solutions within organizations in addition to their centralized deployments. So they have actually mentioned this, where this bimodal mode of BI, where you have two modes, where you have departmental tools being spread within an organization in addition to that centralized deployment. Organizations today have to endorse that. They really have to. And so MicroStrategy now, with this new MicroStrategy Desktop toolset, it gives you the technology to be able to standardize that, to achieve true governance, and to achieve that single version of the truth, which I think is not mythical, by the way. I think it is. You are able to achieve that. You have to start with standardization of technology with any organization. And you've seen this repeatedly across any software within your enterprise. And it's the same for analytics. So to be able to do that, to be able to deploy both centralized and decentralized deployments of analytics within your organization, you really need to be able to start with standardization. And that's what MicroStrategy Desktop allows you to do. If you look at the feature set of MicroStrategy Desktop, at the core of it are those visualizations. What we've done with MicroStrategy 10 is repeatedly invested in making it easier for our business users to be able to visualize data through dozens of readily available templates for you to start building your dashboards and visualizations. Whether it's maps, we have integrated with Esri, and you get free mapping capability with our new desktop tool, and as you do with our web tool as well, and with mobile as well. And you have all the traditional bar charts and pie charts to some more cooler looking visualizations like network diagrams and heat maps, and all of these are out of the box. All you have to do is drag and drop and select. There's no coding, there's no scripting involved, and everything is completely business user friendly. And it really has enhanced the way that business users today can connect to data and start visualizing their data within minutes. The big difference with MicroStrategy 10 is we also allow you to do some advanced formatting and customizations to these visualizations that are available within your tool set. We have also introduced a whole set of new capabilities, and some of them, are listed on the screen over here. But the ones that I would mention are the trend lines. Within a single click, you can actually create a trend line and start doing predictive analytics without even understanding or knowing or being educated on the way to use it, because everything is so easy to use, and with one click you can make a prediction. And in a day and place where users within an organization are required to make these advanced analytics as part of their decision-making process, this tool set really makes that a possibility. So if you look at MicroStrategy Desktop, the great thing about it is that not only do we allow you to use the proprietary software, the capabilities that is built into the product, we realize that organizations have invested in third-party tools and technologies and want to still benefit from those investments. So we make it easy for you to be able to expand onto that ecosystem and integrate easily with third-party tools. From a visualization standpoint, we readily integrate with D3 visualizations and high charts. So if you have to access third-party visualization that is unavailable with the tool, it's just as easy as putting in that plugin, and this product is readily able to inject data and let you visualize data in the manner that you want. In whatever form that you want, the product is able to do that. So not only are we going to give you the capability to use the dozens of visualizations that are out of the box and to suit your needs, if you want to be able to actually see a waterfall widget or another widget that is available on the D3 library, you are readily able to do that because the product allows you that flexibility and extensibility to readily integrate with these libraries. R is something that we have always supported. The product comes with so many native advanced analytic capabilities, but in addition, R is something that we readily integrate with and maps as well, and we'll dig into this a little bit more in detail. So if you look at the D3 visualizations, this is just such a small subset of the visualizations that are out there, but it gives you an idea that with a desktop tool that you are so readily able to install and get started with, you can increase the complexity of your analysis to the extent that you want very easily and rapidly. So with our ability to integrate with these third-party tools, you can start visualizing this data with any of these visualizations. So now not only are you limited to the dozens of visualizations, you have thousands of visualizations to really see the data in the manner that you want. This is actually a tool. This is actually a capability that some of our customers have requested in the past. And again, because of the way we release the product, by taking into account the requirements that our customers have requested, this product is becoming so much more useful to actual real needs within organizations out there who are in need of analytics. From an advanced analytics standpoint and a statistical standpoint, the desktop tool and even our web tool comes with a good set of hundreds of native analytical functions. Within one click, you can start creating basic functions like averages and running totals and whatnot. But to do some basic data summarization and trend analysis and the ability to start doing projections and optimizations and predictions and doing actual prescriptive analytics, the product really supports you and enables your users to be able to do that with minimal support and training. Not only are you able to use these out-of-the-box functions, which MicroStrategy has been well known for in the past, we give you the ability to integrate with these third-party tools and to be able to actually leverage from the investments that you've made. You can look at so many organizations who have invested in those data scientists who are very familiar with R. So if they have built these data models in R that you want to actually inject instantly and readily into the product, all you have to do is just copy paste that metric into your desktop tool, and you can readily start using those metrics that your IT team has built out for you. And that is really something that increases the versatility of the product and allows your business users to use it with as much flexibility as they're looking to do that. Maps, again, this is something that we have always used, and it really readily increases the ability to make decisions in an easily visualizable way. Mapping is something that is inbuilt within the product. You do not need to get or purchase any additional licensing. We have integrated with Esri maps, and all the capabilities of that allows you to visualize your data on a map to be able to make decisions in a lot more easier and faster manner. Again, there's no coding required and there's no additional purchases required to obtain this capability, and we have numerous types of maps available within this, as you can see some templates out here on the screen as well. So once you are able to start building these visualizations by using these easy-to-use functionality, you really can give your users an amazing user experience. Because of our slick new HTML5 interfaces, you could start with these visualizations that you're able to build in a matter of minutes, and to really start increasing the complexity of that by adding some real enterprise caliber pixel perfect formatting to it. You can add transaction services to it. You can add multimedia content to it. You can plug it into Office documents and really make this truly boardroom quality or enterprise caliber that makes your dashboard so much more useful, and you can promote it to your enterprise solutions. And you can also start embedding this into mobile and really incrementally add functionality to something that you started as a visualization. So that's the great migration path that MicroStrategy allows you to be able to start small and grow and promote your work into something that can benefit the entire organization. So we've seen from a visualization standpoint what the product can do. So let's just dive into some more background capabilities that the product is capable of. Historically, MicroStrategy was able to connect to a variety of data sources. Most data sources that your organization depends on, MicroStrategy could connect to. With MicroStrategy 10, not only have we added a good number of sources, brand new sources to this list, but we've also given you the opportunity to be able to connect to these data sources in a lot more native manner. We've given you out-of-the-box connectors that allows your business users to readily connect to these data sources in a manner that does not require any more training than it really needs. With one click, you can start connecting to native HDFS connectors or Hadoop sources. You can connect to other BI vendors' reports. You can connect to a Twitter source and bring in data as well from there. So the ability to be able to connect to a source and to make that process easy and seamless and quick is what MicroStrategy really makes that process a lot more easier. So if you look at this, again, this is such a tip of the iceberg in terms of the sources that we are able to connect to. Again, the complexity, the way I've arranged this is the complexity of the data sources is in increasing order as you go from the bottom of the screen to the top of the screen. So whether it's social media sources, which we realize more increasingly is so much more valuable to organizations today, where you're required to make analysis based on Twitter feed and Facebook data, or you want to be able to scrape data from a website and readily build custom databases. You can do that, or connect to Dropbox. The ability to do that has substantially increased within and has become substantially easier with MicroStrategy 10. Regardless of the data source that you're connecting to, whether it's an Excel file or a Salesforce report or Oracle or SQL Server or MongoDB, the process is exactly the same. So the process is that you can now connect to a Hadoop source with the exact same ease of use that you would connect to your Excel source. None of this needs any scripting. Everything has graphical user interfaces for you to be able to drag and drop tables, to create joins. You can connect to in-memory cubes that your IT has built for you, or you can bring in your own sources that you want to use to be able to start building your visualization instantly. Every single source allows you to connect in a matter of minutes with the exact same process with no new additional training. And as you can see with MicroStrategy 10, we've not only increased the number of data sources that we support, but we have made the ability for you to connect to these sources a lot more easily. And if you look at what organizations are required to do now, they are required to be able to connect to multiple sources now. So the ability to actually not just connect to a source, but to actually enrich your data by connecting to multiple sources and blending your data, that has become increasingly required for organizations. And with MicroStrategy 10 and our ability to connect natively to a lot of these sources allows you to create these joins and allows you to blend data from different sources very easily and very quickly as well. So not only can you connect to your data source live, but you can also bring it up to memory to increase the response times and to improve the performance with the manner you connect and blend data. And because we realize that with analytics, it is not just important to be able to make it easy, but you also want fast response times. You don't want to be waiting for several seconds or minutes for your dashboard to come back. But the increased performance is what a lot of our users look forward to. And because of our native connectivity, we allow you to bring this into memory and to be able to do this in a much faster manner. A brand new addition to MicroStrategy 10 is not only do we allow you to connect to all these sources that are important to your organizations and to blend and enrich your data, but we further allow you to do some light ETL process on your own. So this is the new brand new feature called data preparation or data wrangling. You've heard several terms to define this, but the idea is that when you bring in your own sources, and you're required to do that as part of your job, so as you bring in Excel or as you bring in your Salesforce report, it is very common as a business user that you want to alter the way your data looks, and you want to be able to wrangle that data or prepare your data or cleanse that data that advances the way you are able to do your analysis on top of it. So whether it's splitting columns or filling down empty cells, or whether it's renaming certain words, or whether it's consolidating certain values, all these capabilities are available to you through our data wrangling capabilities, and you're able to do that as a seamless process. With other BI tools, even whether it's point data discovery solutions who are realizing the importance of having data preparation capabilities inbuilt within this, what you're seeing is that they are commonly associating themselves with third-party tools and where you're required to purchase additional licenses. With MicroStrategy 10, this entire process is seamless, and you'll see this in the demo where you can connect to a data source, and if you think that as a business user you want to be able to wrangle or prepare or cleanse that data, you have the ability to do that as a seamless workflow without going out to Excel or to some other, or sending it back to IT for them to be able to do that for you. So there's, again, an expedited way for you to draw value from your data and to start making decisions because you have the control, and everything here is self-service for you to be able to parse and prepare and cleanse your data, whether if you want to create a custom group now. This is something that you would typically send back to your IT team or as a request to be able to do that for you before you even are able to do that yourself and to actually build your dashboard. But with MicroStrategy 10, all this has become completely self-service for any business user to be able to do that themselves, where IT can start focusing on what they are required to do. From a data source standpoint, although like I said, there's so many new data sources, the one big thing that I do want to highlight is all these native connectivities that we've built. With specifically to Hadoop or HDFS, we now can bypass that Hive layer, and we can natively connect through our connectors directly to Hadoop. And there's a lot of benefits to that. There's no ODBC overhead as you used to do in the past. There's no mapping to Hive SQL. And there's the ability to leverage our massively parallel capability to load data. It really increases the response times in the manner that you access your data, so you can start building your dashboards a lot quicker, and you don't have to wait on these cycles anymore. Not that we don't support. There are use cases. There are organizations that do depend on the Hive layer, and we still do support that. But with MicroStrategy 10, we also offer you the choice to be able to connect to Hadoop natively to benefit from all these advantages that I just listed out as well. With that, I do have a few more features that I want to talk about, especially from an administrative side and especially from core enterprise capabilities. But I do want to stop here, so I want to give you a break, show you the product, especially the things that I just showed you, and demonstrate MicroStrategy 10 Desktop by actually sharing my screen where I'll do this demonstration, and this is something that I'm excited to show you about. And you will see how easily you can start using desktop instantly as well. So I've shared my screen over here, and you can see that I'm using a PC version over here of MicroStrategy Desktop that I've downloaded and I've installed on my laptop, and you can do this on the Mac as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to launch it by simply clicking on this, and you can see the brand new interface with MicroStrategy 10, where this is completely HTML5, and you can see the several panels here. You can see the visualizations on your right, and everything is included for you to be able to leverage the capability from within this one screen. So what I'm going to do now is, let's assume that I'm going to take over a few roles within this demonstration. I'm going to open a file that someone has shared with me to be able to visualize data, And as you can see, as soon as I bring out that dashboard, I can quickly visualize the data that someone else has visualized and sent me, has packaged their data with that file. So all I have to do is go up to File and open the dashboard, and I can see the data that somebody else packaged and sent me. If I want to add more data, now this visualization here is an Esri map. Like I said, this is all out-of-the-box capability, and I can quickly visualize the revenue across different territories that I manage. So as a manager, I'm able to get an overview summary of that information on a map. But I also have the ability to actually do some advanced analysis on top of this. Let's say I want to add some data. So I can add data from any of these data sources. So as you can see, I can select this file from disk, which could be an Excel file or a CSV file. I can connect to any data source, which could be a database like a SQL Server or Teradata. I can connect to Hadoop, which is a native connector. I can connect to Salesforce.com or basically anything that's listed out here. In this case, I'm going to start by choosing an easy-to-use Excel file because it's a common use case. And I'm going to select, you can see how you can select multiple sheets, if you will. In this case, I've actually brought in a single sheet, and you can see that all the data has readily been modeled for you. For those of you who don't know data modeling, still don't need to learn that term, because with MicroStrategy 10, everything has been made so business user friendly that it has become very easy for you to get started with. So once I bring in my data, all my data has been arranged in a manner that I want. I did talk about the ability to start preparing or wrangling on your data, and you can see when I click here, we can go into that wrangling position interface where you have the ability to start cleansing the data in the manner that you want. So if you look at this column over here, when I select it, all the functions that allow me to cleanse this data show up on the top left. So in this case specifically, in the channels column, you can see that there's a lot of empty cells, and if I want to fill that down, I just click on Fill Down, and it just automatically enters the value into that, and I don't have to go into Excel to be able to do that. Anything that I do is recorded as a history script on the top right corner. So in a manner of speaking, if I want to repeat this process with the exact same data source, I have the option to be able to do that without redoing this entire process. So let's say in this specific column, I want to be able to remove the dollars, the text within that. So I just highlight that, and as you can see, automatically it allows me to choose the function that I need per this. So I don't even have to go there and look for it. It makes automatic recommendations, and if I say cut after any number, it's essentially going to remove that because I don't want that in my column. In this case, you can see that I can show you all the various text facets. District of Columbia has been entered as Washington D.C. and several other places. So I want to consolidate that. So I have the ability to do that as well. You can see all these other functions that are available within my product. You can see that because I had Washington D.C. and there's also Washington.D.C. and I want to consolidate that, I can use these algorithms to merge that, and I can do this all without any coding and using these intuitive graphical user interfaces to be able to cleanse my data and get out of there. So you can see that I at no point left my interface. This is a completely optional step for those of you who want to wrangle or prepare your data, and completely new in MicroStrategy 10, so I wanted to spend a few minutes on that. So I've connected to my data source, I've wrangled and cleansed my data, and now I have the ability to go up and do some additional cleansing on top of my data source. So in this case, if I want to be able to convert something to a specific metric, I can just do that instantly by choosing these options. And that's it. And in a matter of few seconds, I have now brought in a dashboard that someone else has shared with me, and I've brought in data that I want to enrich this dashboard visualization with to be able to do some additional analysis. So let's start with adding a new visualization. So in this case, let's say I want to create a quick visualization where I want to filter down on the revenue across all these different territories and break it down by time. So I can do that, and as you can see over here, I've brought in revenue across time, But you can see that, it's across, my data set contains only dates. So there's so many different data points in here that it makes it kind of hard to read. So I want to build a new attribute on the fly. So let's say you can create something like quarter or month. You have the ability to do that from within this and not, again, leave this interface. So let's say I go up here, I say create time attribute, and over here, I've created that month very quickly. So you can see how easily now I'm creating new attributes on the fly. Now, if I want to see month information, I can start seeing that regardless of the fact that it wasn't present within my data source. At this point now, I can also add trend lines and reference lines. I'm going to go ahead and add a quick trend line. And again, these are one-click metrics, and you have the ability to do that, and not just add, trend lines, but I can also predict. I said earlier that the ability to be able to predict is natively built within the product. And let's say I have the data up till April 2015, and I want to be able to forecast beyond that. I can do that as well. So the product really has the ability to do that without using any external third-party tools. But if you want to be able to use third-party tools, the product does that as well, and I'll show you later in the demo how we can do that. So I'll go ahead and add a new visualization. This is the third one. At this point, I'm just showing off. So I'm just adding multiple visualizations, and you can just start doing this as much as you want in the manner that you want. And in this case, I want to be able to dive down to my revenue to see how it performs across the various channels. Because I'm an omni-channel analyst, I want to see across these various channels how quickly I can observe these trends across these different channels. So here what I did was I quickly created a profit metric, which is just a simple subtraction. So whether it's a basic, simple metric creation or an advanced one, you'll see how we can create that in a matter of minutes as well. I can also format this by changing the color threshold. So if I want to see that with oranges and greens to see how I'm profiting, I can do that by changing the formatting on my visualization as well. Let's say I want to take this one visualization onto a different screen to do some more analysis on top of that. I can just move this to another screen, and I can add new data. Let's say if this is a third source that I'm adding, and let's assume that my third source is in my Salesforce account. You can see that at this point I've quickly logged into Salesforce. Again, at no point am I leaving this interface, and I have a Salesforce account already logged in, and all these are my Salesforce reports that I can bring in. So you can bring in sources now from disparate sources, whether it's your Teradata or whether it's Oracle. You can bring in your data from various sources, drag and drop it, and then you can start building enhanced analysis on top of your already created analysis. So you can start going here, and you can see that now that you have two different tables over here, you automatically create joins in cases where they're the same header. But in cases where there are different headers, so let's say in this case IDs is a metric, I'm going to move that to an attribute, but I want to create that because there's ID and IDS, I just drag and drop it, and now I have both these connections done. Again, a matter of seconds, you can see how quickly you can create these joins, and you can do that as well. If you want to move some attributes and metrics, you can do that. Again, everything is very graphical in nature, and then within a matter of seconds, you brought in a third source. I'm going to build a heat map now. For those of you familiar with heat maps, you can actually see that you use a size and you use a color gradient to see the various trends. So in this case, you can see that with my new source I brought in, I can see the demographics of my customer base. I'm not only seeing where my purchases are and revenue are, but the breakdown of who these people are to be able to make some advanced loyalty customer segmentation analysis as well. So I brought in this new data source, and now I can start visualizing data. If you look at this heat map, you can see that there's a lot of ages in here. So if I want to create a custom group to be able to consolidate these ages into different age groups, I can do that as well. So what I'm doing here is I'm building a custom group for 16 to 25 and 26 to 35 and whatnot. And I'm doing this again without taking it to my IT, and I'm doing this completely on my own, and I'm building all these groups and consolidating these different ages, and now I can visualize them as a consolidated group. And you can see how quickly I can build these custom groups, and in a matter of seconds, I can actually visualize this in a much cleaner way as well to actually be able to make some analysis on top of it. So at this point, I've brought in my revenue data, and now I know a little bit more about my customers by being able to segment them by gender and by age as well. In this use case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new visualization, and I want to see who my loyal customers are. And to be able to do that, I'm going to drag days since last purchase on one vertical and build a scatter plot with number of purchases on the other on the horizontal. So you can see all these different purchases across this scatter plot, and you can see how I can now build a new metric to be able to segment and consolidate them. So in this new metric, what I'm doing is I want to build a cluster metric, and I want to take a R script that my IT team has built for me, and I want to be able to identify which group is a loyal group from the ones that have made purchases. If you've seen a lot of loyalty programs that classify customers as gold, silver, and bronze and whatnot, I want to be able to do that, but I want to use some advanced analytics to be able to do that. So I'm using a complex R script. This is using a clustering algorithm that is inbuilt into it, and I'm readily able to do that. Now I've built that in a matter of seconds, and I'm making R look so easy because now as a business user, all I'm doing is taking a script that somebody else has provided me, and I'm including that as part of my analysis. And I'm dragging and dropping that, and instantly I have identified who my loyal customers are in this group by bringing in the various elements that I think define loyal. And you can do that with your own definitions as well. So it is commonly required that as a business user, you are required to make these advanced analytical decisions, and now you have the power to be able to do that with this tool. So what you can do this with now, what I want to show you is you start with the desktop, and if you want to be able to upload to a server, to MicroStrategy has always talked about centralized deployments, and if you want to be able to connect to a server, you have the ability to do that. If you have the information of your server and you do have that server license, you can connect the dashboard that you've built with desktop, which is local to your machine, and now I've uploaded it into my web. So if you're familiar with MicroStrategy user interfaces, we have the desktop tool, right, which is a downloadable data discovery tool on your PC or your Mac, but we also have a web tool that is connected to the server, and that it's a tool or interface that allows you to do exactly what you can do with the desktop tool and a lot more, because it gives you the ability to connect to your model data sources and achieve true governed data discovery. Trusted data discovery or governed data discovery or managed self-service are terms that are becoming extremely popular these days, which allow you to protect the integrity of your data and protect the quality of your data. So what I've done now is you can see that I've uploaded that dashboard here, and now I can run this dashboard and I can see the exact same dashboard with the exact same data with the exact same look and feel on my web server as well. This allows me to share across multiple other users within my organization, and I can do this in a trusted and safe manner as well. The benefit to uploading to server, obviously it's governed data discovery where you can map back the data sources that have come from Excel and other sources. As an IT team, now you have a little bit more control to be able to guarantee the quality of your data. The reason I say that is for those of you who are not familiar with governed data discovery, it is the ability to prevent conflicting KPIs because users who are using these point solutions have the ability to bring in data sources from various sources, so you can't really guarantee the quality of your data. By bringing it into a centralized environment where IT is able to manage that, now you have the ability to provide and offer governed and trusted data sources where everyone who is sharing your data can be guaranteed and can trust the data. No matter how great your dashboard looks, it's only as great as you can trust the value of your data, and if you can't do that, it suddenly is rendered useless. But with governed data discovery, that allows you to prevent that, and that's what MicroStrategy Web can do for you. So now I've brought it into Web. You can see that I'm seeing the exact same dashboard. The benefit of that is now I can come here and I can use the hierarchies and all the other model data that my IT has built. If they have built another in-memory cube, I can use that as well. So you can guarantee yourself that this is truly governed data discovery, where now I can drag and drop the values and components that my IT team has built for me. I also have the ability to continue adding new data sources from here as well. Like I said, all the capability that I brought from desktop transports over to web. So now I brought in some new social media sources, and now I can create a new visualization to try and identify out of my loyal customers, from that gold rung that I built. I want to build a new metric, which is a propensity model. Now again, we're getting more complex, but the idea is that I want to show you is that no matter how complex you want to be, you want your analytics to be, you have the ability to do that from basic summarizations, from averages and totals and whatnot, to be able to do these complex propensity models and predictive models. You have the ability to do that with MicroStrategy because we offer you the suite of analytical tool set to be able to do that. So here I have another R script that gives you the ability to identify which ones of my user base who are more active on social media are more likely to make purchases, so I can send them targeted promotions to. So by using this, I can just identify that. So here I'm building a quick grid, and I can convert that into descending order, and you can see how I can identify that. Let me change that to a bar graph so you can quickly identify those that you want to target with your promotion. Like I said earlier, you can add reference lines, and let's say I want to use an average over here, and I have the ability to do that. So anyone above the average are more inclined to make a promotion, so I can send them a targeted marketing promotion or a coupon code to be able to use on my website or my mobile device to be able to make a purchase. So as you can see that with this process now, I've created my dashboard by connecting to my data source and multiple other data sources, blended different sources. I've wrangled and prepared my sources. I've arranged it in the manner that I want and created the dashboard. What I can do now is show you some advanced functionality that is new with MicroStrategy. So what I did now with this is I just moved that heat map, and I've integrated with D3, where you can start visualizing data with visualizations that are out of the box, that are not out of the box. So you have the ability to start extending your library of visualizations to countless other visualizations that are available with third-party tools and libraries, and you can start bringing that within MicroStrategy. And that really exponentially adds value to the flavor of the way you do analytics using MicroStrategy 10. So we've shown you a good amount of information that you can do on the on desktop, and how you can promote that to web and achieve governed data discovery. Anything that you build on web, you can use our native mobile apps. So in this case, you can see how I'm using Touch ID for secure access into the same project that I created on web, and now I can run this exact same dashboard and view the exact same dashboard without any additional redesign for mobile, and I can interact with that data instantly as well. Everything is optimized for touch, and you have all these fluid actions that you can perform because it's a native app on mobile. There's a lot of interactivity that you can do with mobile. My favorite one here is how you can annotate by highlighting a specific region. So if I want to highlight that this is who I want to target, I can quickly make a notation around that. I can add a note. This is what we call annotations. And then I can share this with someone on my team who is then able to actually perform on an action. So you see something, you do something kind of thing is what we believe with MicroStrategy, and now you have the ability to be able to do that with mobile as well. So you can see how across all these interfaces we have now integrated our products. So regardless of whether it's desktop or web or mobile, there's this seamless interactivity that you can continue using without any redesign and rework. I do want to conclude this demo with a short piece how you have the ability to not only leverage these data discovery capabilities, but really benefit from the core enterprise analytics capabilities that we talked about earlier. To start with, you can use mobile phones to log into your web. So essentially, I scan that barcode from my mobile phone using my Usher app, and now that it's tightly integrated with MicroStrategy, it recognizes me, and I don't have to rely on passwords that we've commonly come to realize that has become so vulnerable these days. And again, I can just go into my reports and browse that and I can read that, and this is personalized. So if I log in as a different user, you can see that I don't see the other territories that I'm not inclined to see. So you have the ability to now apply security filters or access control lists to really govern the way like someone really visualizes data. So if you built a dashboard as a worldwide manager and you share with someone who is a North American manager, you can notice how they only see data that is relevant to them. So you're able to protect how secure that data is as well. So with that, I'm going to conclude the demo, and I'm going to show you some more features and functionality that are new with MicroStrategy 10 beyond data discovery and how you can actually leverage analytics to really benefit your organizations. Like I said, what organizations are going to start looking forward to, even according to Gartner, is the fact that they are able to not just be able to do this with ease of use and flexibility, but you also need some core capabilities, some core features that benefit your organization. Whether it's performance, whether it is the ability to maintain everything that is maintain the security of your data, whether it's the ability to provide personalization and control the usage across multitudes of users within your organization and beyond. The ability to do that is a core responsibility of your analytical product, and with the foundation that MicroStrategy has been able to build over the past 25 years, you can leverage all that and use analytics in an easy-to-use manner like you just saw. With MicroStrategy 10, the brand new thing is the way we are now allowing you to partition your in-memory cubes. We used to use OLAP cubes in the past, and the evolution of that is really parallel processed cubes that you can now leverage to start visualizing more data faster and to be able to do that in record time. So there's a few advances that we've done. The first one of them is the ability for us to be able to parallel load data. In the past, you could only open a single thread to a database that restricted the speed in terms of which you could load data. We oftentimes forget that data is hosted in a database somewhere, and you need to be able to load that data faster in memory before you are able to visualize that. With MicroStrategy 10, we are able to now parallel load that data into a cube, and we are able to now benefit from being able to do that faster. Not only are you able to load data faster, but you're now able to partition in that cube and process that cube faster as well. So with MicroStrategy 10, you're able to partition your cubes on a certain attribute. So if you had a large cube, you're breaking it down into smaller cubes, and so essentially you're able to process it a lot faster as well. In the past, we were limited to 2 billion rows in memory per cube across your server. With MicroStrategy 10, because of parallel processing, we now allow you to leverage all your cores across your server, and you are now able to load up to 2 billion rows per core. So now you're going exponentially by 2 billion, by a factor of 2 billion, across by the factor of the number of cores within your machine. So now not only are you able to load data faster and process data faster in memory, but you're also able to load a lot more in memory to achieve data scalability. And MicroStrategy already used to process more data. I think from a recent report I read somewhere that it was over 10 times the average of other vendors. And with this new feature and functionality, we're going so much more beyond that. And as you can see, this is some results that we had from our beta testing. Like I said, in the past few months, we had beta testing from our customers who took our software in their production, and they were able to test this. You can see how this bank was able to load this cube that had over 470, I know the exact name of the bank, but I'm not allowed to divulge that information, but they were able to load over 270 million rows of cube 9 times faster than they could with our previous version. This is because now you're able to break up that processing into parallel modes, and you're able to load it much faster. Beyond that, there's also the ability, like I said, to be able to benefit from these core enterprise features. One of those features is mobile. Mobile is something that we've been rated #1 by analysts and our customers for many years now. With MicroStrategy 10, we continue to provide native apps We previously offered native apps for the iOS, but we also, with MicroStrategy 10, now offer the native app for the Android as well. With HTML5, you can even consume that on the browser, but now because we offer native apps, the experience is so much more optimized to touch, and you can leverage a lot of the functionality within these devices and embed that within your apps. The ability to not just consume the dashboards that you build. You saw in my demo how I built a dashboard and I was able to quickly view that and interact with that on a mobile device. But MicroStrategy allows you to embed that into your workflows to really make that part of your job function. For those of you interested in learning more about our mobile functionality, there's so many examples on YouTube that you can just look up and you can learn as to what different customers of ours who are now referenceable are doing with their mobile applications, such sophisticated applications and workflows that could really enhance the quality of their jobs by leveraging analytics in new and interesting ways. MicroStrategy, like I said, mobile has constantly been rated #1 by various recognized institutions and analysts across the world. And this is just a small section that I wanted to highlight. But with MicroStrategy 10, we're offering new capabilities like Android support and new smart clients for offline transactions. So without the ability to connect to Wi-Fi or the internet, you can still transact over a mobile device. So if you are a store manager somewhere, you are able to now look up inventory and change that from your mobile device and really interact and send back data and with write back capabilities. So and the ability to do that more efficiently is now through smart clients is now available with MicroStrategy 10. We've talked a lot about consumers and analysts, even for administrators who are such a vital part in deploying or analytics across an organization. We have really made it a lot easier with MicroStrategy 10. With MicroStrategy 10, we have a brand new tool called the Operations Manager. The Operations Manager is on top of all the other tools that we previously provided, the Command Manager, Integrity Manager, and System Manager. These are tools that allow your administrators to streamline workflows, to monitor usage across their environment, to be able to check up on the health of their hardware, to be able to optimize the usage, to be able to do performance tuning. But beyond that, with the Operations Manager, we make it so much easier now. With a centralized web-based HTML5 interface, you have the ability to monitor all your environments, and not just monitor, but also manage it from this interface, and really do this in a really enhanced and efficient manner. I want to show you a quick demonstration before I jump to a few more closing slides. I want to show you the demonstration of the Operations Manager. So this is the interface of the Operations Manager that I talked about. As you can see, it's a web-based tool that allows you to monitor all these different monitors across your hardware. So if you want to see how much memory is being used, how much CPU is being used across the different servers, if you have multiple servers, you can still see that from a single centralized interface. If you want to monitor the heartbeat of that, and you want to dive into a single server, you can do that as well, and you can see how much CPU your server is using, how much memory is being used, how burdened your system is in case you want to take action. You have the ability to do that as well. As you can see, I'm switching between several different servers, and you have the ability to do this from this one centralized HTML interface. In this case, you can see I'm looking at the CPU usage, and everything is live. I can switch to the various monitors to see the jobs being executed. So if there's a big cube that is being produced or run by a specific user that I know is not going to be tolerated by my server, I can go ahead and kill that as well. So I have the ability to manage this entire infrastructure from a single console, and that really makes it a lot more powerful. So I can see what different users are doing, and I can disconnect those users, disconnect those sessions if there's too many sessions within my servers as well. If I want to see cache usage, we are great with dashboards, so we built in some dashboards. This is a heat map of the types of cache that are within my system. So you can see that we organize this by size and color, as to you can see which one has the most hit count, or which ones are the most popular ones, and you can also see which ones are the bigger ones. So if there's something that is large, there's a large cache that is being not used as much, you can delete that and free up the memory on your system as well. You can also see that the tool is capable of sending out alerts to you as well. So you have the ability to get 24/7 alerting that really gives you the ability to monitor this in a very efficient manner as well. And that was a short demo of the Operations Manager, and I'm going to go back to some closing slides to give you some more information on 10 and how you can benefit from it. So now that you've seen the demonstration of that, I want to go ahead and show you how, with MicroStrategy 10, everything that you saw, whether it's mobile or whether it's analytics, even our security component of our product, which is Usher, where you have the ability to use digital badges to log into your systems in a more protected way than passwords. All this is available with a single comprehensive platform, and with a single installation, you have access to all of this. So with MicroStrategy 10, you get the benefit from all the security that we offer with our past releases, where you have role-based personalized privileges, database security and authentication and whatnot. But you also have the ability to use, at no cost to you, to be able to use apps, digital apps on your smartphones to log into to your MicroStrategy applications. The benefit to that is you don't have to remember your password, so there's a convenience aspect to it, but it really makes it a lot more secure by digitizing this, by adding biometric multi-factor authentication to your analytics. And we realized that analytics sits on top of your data, which is so vital and needs to be secure, and that's how we offer you proactively the ability to do that. With MicroStrategy Usher, and if you've deployed it on MicroStrategy, you have the ability to deploy it on any other application, whether it's physical or logical, and the ability to extend that out makes it so much easier. And you could start using it with the other applications like email and Salesforce, and even physical applications like doors and garages and whatnot. And it becomes that much easier to start standardizing technology, because we know that's important as well. And within Usher is built in some analytics as well, where you can actually start looking at trends within your users and identifying that and tracking and monitoring usage across your system that makes it so much more valuable for administrators to be able to make decisions on how your platform's being used. And so I want to stop there. Like I said earlier, I can keep going on with features and on top of features, because MicroStrategy 10 is probably the biggest release we've seen in over a decade and a half. And there's so many new features that are exciting and useful to organizations that we've built in, taking into considerations from our customers, and makes it so much more valuable. With that, I want to say that to be able to start leveraging this, we have a fantastic community that you can use. You can go up to our community that is available on our website. There's over 350,000 active users, and it's a great platform for new idea exchanges. And if you have issues, you can always talk about it there and get to know the product a lot faster. I do want to talk a little bit about pricing and packaging. Everything else, with exception for the desktop, remains the same. We offer all these three different interfaces, the desktop, web, and mobile. We also have an architect and developer interface that is sold separately. Desktop is available at $600, which can be used without an accompanying server license. And everything else, the in-memory layer that you talked about, Operations Manager, all that is integrated within the server, and you don't have to make any additional purchases to avail that. Moving on, I just wanted to highlight that we have a very well-spread consulting services department that will allow you to upgrade for those of you who are customers, and for those of you who are not customers and want to start with deployments, we have a services engagement, and they have all these different packages available to you as well, which you should definitely leverage should you want to get started with MicroStrategy 10. Of course, I'm in marketing, so I had to put that out there. We are spreading the word with MicroStrategy 10. We're so excited about that. So look out for our tweets and look out for tweets in the public there. We're using the hashtag MSTR10. And for those of you who are looking to get started, I think these are 3 key ways that you can. We're conducting symposia across the globe. This week we were in Paris. We're going to be in London in 2 weeks. We're going to go to Madrid, New York, San Francisco, Dallas, Boston, Atlanta, Sao Paulo, Dubai, and even Singapore. So if you're anywhere close to that, do attend it. We're going to be deep diving into 10, and there's going to be numerous sessions, both MicroStrategy technical sessions, as well as it's a great medium to interface with other customers and prospects who have similar interests and network with them as well. So that's a fantastic opportunity that I highly recommend that you check out. We have a broad suite of educational programs and services programs that I highlighted. So get on our website, microstrategy.com, and look for how we can help you with that perspective. And then finally, with desktop, it's just so easy as a single user to get started. So request your trial today. You can email us at info@microstrategy.com. And that's a great way for you to actually get started on your own as well. There are a lot of questions coming in, and I'm going to be addressing them as they're coming in, but I did want to highlight a few more questions out loud for those of you who are interested. Again, these are questions that came out on chat. I will respond to those of you that I don't get into because we're scarce on time. But for those of you who are asking questions, I'm going to pick randomly and I'll try and address them. Is MicroStrategy Desktop, do you require a server license? You do not require a server license to have MicroStrategy Desktop. It is a standalone tool, and you can get that, and you can start connecting to your data and start building dashboards without really connecting to server. The server component that I talked about earlier was because you want to promote it and to be able to share it in a governed way, in a secure manner, and to be able to apply all those filters to your users, and it really helps manage it in a centralized manner. But you really don't need it. You have the ability to use it, and so you can start using some of the other enterprise features that we talked about, but it is available as a standalone tool that you can download and install on your PC or Mac. With native HDFS, do you still allow us to use Hive connectors? Yes, we certainly do. With MicroStrategy 10, the native connectivity to HDFS or Hadoop is a brand new functionality, but we still support ODBC connections using Hive to your Hadoop sources for those of you who need that as well. So there's no change with that. We're just giving you additional options to be able to do that. Is there any new configuration needed to be able to leverage data wrangling? So the data wrangling feature, as I talked about, is the data preparation capability where you are now being able to cleanse your data once you bring your data in. So you do not need to bring in any more or licenses or additional configuration. Both with web and with desktop, you have the ability to connect to any data source, wrangle or prepare your data, and cleanse your data, and then convert it to a visualization. So there's no additional licensing needed to access that new functionality, and it's completely new in 10. How can I extend my D3 visualization library? With D3, the ability to take any D3 visualization and convert it to a visualization that can be leveraged with MicroStrategy Desktop or web, there's a lot of information available in our community on how you can do that. It's just as simple as identifying which visualization you want to be able to do, and you build a plugin around that. A lot of them are readily available on our community that you can quickly just go snatch from there. But for those of you who want custom visualizations, again, the community is such a great place for you to interact with experts in this area who can help you do that as well. So that's all the time we have today. Again, thank you so much for joining us. We are so excited about MicroStrategy 10, and we're prepared for the launch. We're looking forward to adoption, and there's so much engagement. Again, this is a record number of people that I've seen on a webcast. I will be addressing the question that I got on chat individually, either over chat or over email. Again, thank you for your time, and do look forward I do look forward to hearing from you either at a symposium or online, or as you become our customers. And again, thank you for spending the hour with us, and we'll be around. So please continue interacting with us and letting us know how we can help you get MicroStrategy 10. Thank you, and have a great day.